We've got you covered all season long. Welcome to the BCSN Nation podcast, powered by Buffalo Wild Wings.
All right, here it is, Season 3, Episode 9 of the BCSN Nation podcast, powered by Buffalo Wild Wings. It's still October.
Let's go, Sports Bar.
Brandon Carnes, Justin Feldkamp, Mason Lowry here to bring you all the action for the forthcoming Week 9 and get you caught up on a little bit of what happened in Week 8. But I posed this question to Mike Robb, Yao, and Mike Jewell on Friday at Game Day Nation. I want to know, in this theme of the Halloween season, your scariest team as we head into the playoffs, Mr. Mason Lowry.
Well, in terms of on-field product, I got to go with Whiteford. Not only do they already play in Halloween Town with the woods and the spiders and everything.
Good point.
The mosquitoes. I'm going to give you two local high schools, things that people tend to get scared of. One of them is going to be a threat in the postseason, and that's Perrysburg. Nobody likes kicking a hornet's nest or a yellow jacket's nest.
Clever.
Swarms of things are scary. And I know so many people that won't get on a roller coaster. So we got the Sandusky Blue Streaks out in Erieland, the only high school in America whose nickname comes from a roller coaster. That's true. Look it up. The Blue Streaks, which is not a scary roller coaster by any stretch.
Somebody out there is terrified.
Unless some of the bolts fall off because it's old and not that steep.
Yeah,
but
that's a concern.
But Blue Streaks and Yellow Jackets for me, and Bobcats, oh my.
That's right.
Mason Lowry, ladies and gentlemen.
I'll go, so I categorize this basically by saying, are you a lower-seeded team currently in the playoff ratings, but you've lost to quality opponents? So you have quality losses, so you could strike some fear and maybe win some games in the postseason, maybe as a road team or a team seeded 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So Central Catholic, their 4 losses to Walsh, Jesuit, Cass Tech, DCC, and St. Mary's. Those 4 teams, 6-1, 7-0, 7-0, 5-1. Napoleon, I think you said that this past Friday.
Yep.
Defiance is a loss. They're now 4-4. Anthony Wayne is a loss. They're 5-3. So I think Central, Napoleon, any of the D5 teams in our area.
Oh, my
goodness.
goodness.
Ridiculous. Liberty Center, Genoa, Liberty Benton, Fairview, Edison, Eastwood, Oak Harbor, Port Clinton, and Delta. You could get a win from any or all of those. And then I'll say in Division 6, PH, currently 11th. How about this? So in our Division 6 region, Patrick Henry is currently 11th. Archbold is number 1 in that region. Archbold and PH played this past Friday, and Archbold won by 1 point. So the difference between the first seed and the 11th seed is 1 point on the field.
Yeah.
And then lastly, in D7, you saw him a couple weeks ago in the woods. Eden. I think no one would want to face that offense and the capability. They could come back if they get down, so I'd give you Eden.
And down at D7, too, there's a chance Toledo Christian could get in,
on the
which
precipice.
is kind of a shock given they hadn't played 11-man in years and years. But to their credit, after taking their lumps early on, they've rattled off 4 wins in a row, I think it is, possibly 5 at this point. So who knows? When you're building up a head of steam like that, you're going in maybe as a 10, 11, 12 seed if they can find a way to get in. I wouldn't want to play them.
Yeah, they're playing a team out of Indiana. Fremont, Indiana is taking on TC this Friday. We'll have highlights of that one on Overtime and Football Friday.
He just knows everything. It's almost like he's in charge of it or something like that. Napoleon is mine. We see it every year in every sport. They play these big schools, and then they get to the playoffs, and then everything's a little bit easier. They're probably going to be, as if you look at Drew Pasteur's Fantastic 50 right now, they're projected to have the 3 seats. They'll get that first round bye. Love that for them. Check that out if you haven't already. Drew Pasteur's Fantastic 50. And stay here while you check out the rest of the podcast. We'll get you recapped on some Week 8 action, our Player of the Week, our Clip of the Week, and so much more as we get you ready for the penultimate week of the regular season. Make sure you're here every single Wednesday for a brand new episode of the podcast at 4 p.m. on BCSN or bcsnnation.com/podcast or just anywhere you get your audio podcasting done, and follow at BCSN Sports. But now we'll take you back to last week, a huge matchup in the NLL Buckeye. Week after week after week here, the last few weeks of the season, we've had these. Whitmer holding on by just the skin of their teeth to hold this one out. They were up 28-0 at one point, 35-33 the final score. A J-League Thompson pick 6 in the first half, a huge benefit for the Panthers, and they needed every single one of those points.
Yeah, and LJ Glover, a pick at the end when Finley was trying to go win it with either a field goal or a touchdown there. I texted Coach Justin Keller, and I appreciate his honesty. He's never going to throw his team under the bus, but I said, how did Finley get back into it? How did you hold on to get a win? And he said, a few crucial errors on our part, and Finley refused to quit. So I like how he acknowledged, took ownership on his side, and then gave credit to the opponent. So that says a lot about him and Coach Stephen Adams at Findlay. I think they've done a tremendous job. They have some quality losses. They're going to be a team to be reckoned with. We could have thrown them into a scariest team category there. But can Whitmer stay disciplined? Okay, we have seen some unsportsmanlike conduct penalties from them. I think they're a little bit more disciplined this year, but it still has been an issue. I don't think it's been an issue that has caused them a win or a loss yet. Or excuse me, hasn't caused them a loss yet, but they're coming in the sense that some top caliber teams, if Whitmer has what it takes, and I think they believe that they do, they want to go on a tournament run, a playoff run here. They got Perrysburg coming next week. Then they could have the likes of Massillon, Jackson, Strongsville, McKinley, St. Ed's, or Mentor. Yep. You have some mistakes in there. Here comes an L. Yeah. So I think it's up to that roster from top to bottom, the coaching staff, to just find a way. They got to understand when they get these sizable leads, and I don't think you're going to be getting these sizable leads against the likes of the teams that I just mentioned, especially in the postseason. So every little detail matters, and I think that is what Whitmer has to drive home and has to realize and has to wrap their arms and body around if they want to go to the promised land of a deeper tournament run.
It's funny. If you ever watch golf, sometimes you'll hear 160-yard shot on a par 3, a much louder cheer for a ball that almost goes in instead of the hole-in-one. And I don't know what it is about human nature that makes that a thing. I almost feel like Findlay's getting more praise for having lost real close twice to Perrysburg and Whitmer than if they had actually beaten one of those teams. Especially if they had beaten Whitmer, then you would look, to your point, Justin, and, Whitmer gave the game away, which they very nearly did. Special teams miscues and so on. Long snapping is hard. And etc. But the fact that Findlay was able to stand as tall as they did with both of those teams, especially 28 points down, doesn't matter how much your opponent might be trying to, gift wrap the football, give it to you, as the Panthers kind of were. That takes so much chutzpah, let's say.
Fortitude.
That I don't know if any of us knew that they might have had that in them before these last 2 weeks, and especially last week against Whitmer. I'm so impressed with what they've managed to do. Just that stroke of genius back in week 4, I think it was, when Findlay went up to Southview, and Miles Bailey, who hadn't played quarterback since 8th grade, comes in, and he has really made them go. And what's interesting to me is that Grayson Geyser, the sophomore wide receiver and kicker, Miles Bailey was dinged up for a few plays. Geyser was the guy that came in and played quarterback. It wasn't any of the three from the start of the year that were alternating. They've made some really interesting tweaks in midstream to how they do what they do, and they are so much better for that.
I will make one quick note. So Miles Bailey, credit to him 100%. I mentioned after they lost to Perrysburg, can they use the passing game as effectively as the running game when they have to stop the clock, when they have to move the chains. Against Perrysburg, final drive ended in a interception. When they had to score against Whitmer, it ended in interception. So I think that's something that Miles Bailey and that coaching staff, offensive coordinator, can work on and get better. Because they're going to have to do it if they want to deliver the goods in the playoffs.
Carter Imke has finally started to break out, by the way, as the downfield threat that we thought he would be at the start of the year. The last few weeks, he's had 10 catches. He's gotten over 100 yards. He is as rapid as any receiver in Northwest Ohio, so he could be a big difference maker going forward.
And we'll stay on theme a little bit with this game as we go into our Dun Chevy Player of the Week. Hit it. Cisco, he's back. One of the three-headed machine at running back for the Panthers is Jamon Holmes. He is this week's Dun Chevy Player of the Week. Third time's the charm for Jamon. Third nomination, finally brings it home. 80 yards, 2 touchdowns. He got a little dinged up in that second half, and Coach Keller was very happy to have the stable of running backs that he has, that they could go with Jaden Jones and Joey Morales to kind of spell him while he recovered. But the biggest thing wasn't on that highlight sheet because it's this play right here. I'm giving all the flowers to Jamon Holmes. This 2-point game, remember, 35-33 the final score, tracks him down and makes a huge tackle, makes a stop.
As time expires, making sure there's no chance for a field goal.
Yeah, Coach Keller said, he said, I told Jamon on Saturday when I saw him Saturday morning, that play should go on your highlight reel to coaches. College coaches need to see the hustle and effort you put 100%. In to make sure that something bad didn't happen. He said, I put my hand up for Carter. I didn't know that defender was so close. and then I was mad. I had to go fix the problem. So shout out Jamon Holmes. Third time is the charm.
Had to go fix a problem. Just put that on a shirt.
Yeah,
That's
had to go
great.
fix a problem. Done Chevy, Player of the Week together. Let's drive, and we'll drive right back here for more after 30 seconds from Buffalo Wild Wings. Hit it. Let's go.
Buffalo Wild Wings buy one, get one free boneless Thursdays saved me so much cash. I can finally do everything I've ever wanted in life, like skydiving. You ready? No, this was a mistake, a huge mistake. I want to go back. I want to go back. Go. Yeah, I'll probably just use the money I saved to get more buy one, get one free boneless wings at B-Dubs. No brainer. Buffalo Wild Wings. Let's go sports bar.
At participating locations, not valid with other offers or discounts. See website or app for details.
As we all still wind down and recover from the rivalry at the 𝗦𝗽Ce last weekend, a huge comeback for BG. We got another big rivalry. The Irish Knight. Not so much Knight in this series, though. 23 straight wins for Central Catholic in this one. And you got to hope maybe you're licking your chops a little bit. Central's down, or is the scary beast cornered, and now you have a bigger problem to deal with for Coach Linke and the Knights?
Cue the Thriller dance. They're closing in to seal your doom.
That's pretty
Vincent
good.
Price. Thank you.
That was not Vincent Price. He's not here. That was just Mason Lowry for anyone on the audio.
What were we talking about? Oh, right. Irish Central
Knight.
Catholic. It's so interesting because they played one of the most entertaining games of 2024. I did that game. That was, 7-0 at the end of the third quarter.
Yep.
I think it was. And Central, it took 3 late touchdowns to pull away and really put their stamp on it. Neither team is as good as they were last year.
Sure.
I think we would all agree. St. Francis is as good as KJ Collins Walker has been as a freshman. I think you miss having that steady pair of hands in Corey Swartz at quarterback.
Yeah.
Someone who was more of a game manager. You certainly miss Raheem Brown. And Jaden Houston has done a great job stepping up in his absence, but Raheem Brown
On both sides of the ball, yeah.
it can impact a game in so many different ways, and they don't really have those guys. And Central Catholic, for whatever reason, it feels like it hasn't clicked yet, and hopefully it does. Maybe it will this Friday night. I don't think many, even with how brutally difficult their schedule has been, would have expected 500 this late in the year.
Yeah.
The good news is sometimes it only takes a win in a rivalry like this for everything to finally come together. Like they always say, and I've been in plenty of these, stage productions that the night before opening night have been a disaster, and then somehow it comes together when the lights are the brightest. So maybe it finally can for Central Catholic. And St. Francis, this obviously ending a 2-decade-long losing streak to your rival, you want to get rid of that as fast as you possibly can. That could propel them way up the Region 6 standings, too, and you could end up with a much more advantageous first-round matchup.
Yeah.
You're probably not going to get into the top 4, but you could entrench one of those home games, and you're maybe playing the 12 seed instead of the 9, which could make a huge difference.
Yeah, I
Flip
think
side,
the
we're-
matter of
Go
this,
ahead.
sorry, the
No, go
matter
ahead.
of this is which teams show up on both sides of the ball, because I was at the Divine Child at St. Francis game this past Friday, and the second half was way better for St. Francis than the first half. And St. Francis started to turn the corner a little bit in that second quarter. So they had to limit self-inflicted penalties. They got to limit the turnovers, all that type of stuff, because you don't have a whole lot of margin for error when you're starting a freshman quarterback or rotating, because we've seen Braden Gonzalez and KJ Collins Walker get relatively equal amount of time here as the season has progressed. They both bring different dynamics to the field as signal callers. But for Coach Josh Linke, yes, opportunity knocks for both of these teams, because you're going to get quality playoff points whoever wins in this scenario. But the 23 wins in a row, I mean, that's hanging over somebody. But St. Francis has taken 10 losses in a row to St. John's last year and flushed that down the toilet.
Yeah.
They did lose this year. But I think that both of these teams have enough playmakers to be competitive. I'll give you Central Catholic's Robert Campbell and Zanaje Liggins up front. St. Francis, Blake Adler, and Tyrell Lawrence up front. Those are 4 guys, I think, that are going to have to play a factor in this game if they want their team to come out with a win.
You know, and how impressive was that comeback, too, last week? Because they were taking on a team that hadn't lost yet this year. And even if you're at home, and that is a serious home field advantage, both being at the Glass Bowl, this massive field, this crazy cavernous environment for a high school football game, but also just being at home. And we've kind of learned that Southeast Michigan is kind of a different beast when it comes to just the fan followings, and the physicality tends to be a bit different. So, the deck was kind of stacked in the Knights' favor, but to be able to overcome a team that was unbeaten on the year is extremely, extremely impressive to me. Anytime you can make a comeback like that, unlike Findlay, they actually were able to get it over the finish line. But I don't know. I like the St. Francis group. One other quick thought on them, and this is something we've not really discussed the last few weeks. How much do they wish they had Rocco Pillarelli right now? Because when you've got young quarterbacks, there's another veteran you can put in the backfield alongside them that can kind of be
nerves,
exactly that steady pair of hands again, and a guy that is a real threat to break a big gain, whether he's running back, wildcat quarterback, you can use him, slot receiver. He could have been that Raheem Brown type guy had he been able to play all year there, and instead they don't have him, and that's a weapon they don't have.
Yeah, you talked about this catapults St. Francis forward if they win. If they lose, this might knock Central out of the playoff picture, barring, what happens in Week 10.
Which would be extraordinary.
Everybody in this room, 𝗷 would be cheering somewhere saying I was right all along on Friday nights, and we'd have to handle that. Check this one out Friday, 7 p.m. on the BCSN Plus app. And now it is time for our Clip of the Week, brought to you by Renewal by Anderson. Cisco, hit it. Taking you to the City League last Thursday night, LeBron Jones. Here we go. Mama, who needs two hands? I got one.
Whoa! Taking his talents to the end zone. Man.
Mason Lowry, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah, dude, just the deep ball and I need one hand. I don't need two. I'm going to put my paw up there, and then he just kind of stands there. Oh, my God. Did you see the hands on the helmet? Tell me somebody saw that. There's a camera somewhere.
Multiple cameras, BCSN cameras hauling it in. That's
we
a
got
great
you,
play.
LeBron.
I tell you what, hats off to the quarterback as well,
Yes.
Jarrell White, I believe.
Yes, Jarrell White.
That's a great throw.
Yes, on two
Put
defenders.
it where your guy can get it.
Putting it where your guy can get it, and then in the corner of the end zone, just a great ball, great catch, solid work.
Body control. You see him, he kind of puts that arm out, a little basketball box out on the way up to make a play on the ball. Coach Tucker's first win leading the Rogers Rams over Woodward.
Good for him. That's great, because I know how much he loves that school
program,
community and that football program in particular. I'm really happy for him. By the way, I think this is, for me, a matchup of the two best helmets in the area. I love, as a lifelong Michigan fan, I loved the wing helmets and
then the ram
the
horn.
classic ram. Very Vorese Scorpions. That's IFL references 2 weeks in a row now.
Listen, Mason's
but I really love that.
Italy on the brain. LeBron's got one hand on the ball, and we've got a Renewal by Anderson Clip of the Week. You want more of that, head over to our @BCSN Sports TikTok account, and don't miss any of those. But now it's time for Student Section of the Week, #SSOTW. And it's not all about the Irish night, because the belt is coming to Gallagher Stadium this Friday. Here it is. Cisco, you got my graphic for me. The Irish are loud and proud. CCHS bringing home the Unison Student Section of the Week. Make sure you are sending us #SSOTW. You want to be in the running for Student Section of the season. You got to win one of these Student Sections of the Week. Unison Health reminds you it is your time, your choice, and I'll see you Friday, Irish Nation, for that one. Now it's time to keep it moving. Week 9, a potential NLL Cardinal championship matchup, essentially a de facto game here. Yep. Fremont Ross and Napoleon in the two top teams in the Cardinal, and boy, a lot of fun here. So much talent across the board, and Napoleon is rolling, and they're hot right now.
Yeah, if Napoleon wins, it's over. They win because they would have the 4 wins in the Cardinal. They are out of division, out of league play in Week 10. If Fremont Ross wins, they'd play BG next week. Would have to win that one to win it outright. But I think that this Cardinal division, if one of these teams happens to win, which they will, that would be 3 different Cardinal division winners in a row. Southview won the inaugural one, Clay won last year, and then Fremont Ross or Napoleon this year. So I think that's good for the regular high school football fan who wants to see a lot of competitive teams and other teams rising up and not just the same team year and year and year and year, again and again and again.
Yeah.
But for Tyler Swery and Napoleon, credit to them, Mason. We did a ton of broadcasts of their team last year because their senior class was loaded. They had Trey Rubenstein, Owen Espinoza. List goes on and on and on. Parker Woods, yes. So this year they've rebooted and done quite well. We've talked about Hayden Grohl. We've talked about George Eggers. Kelby
Couple
Parsons.
wrestlers, baby.
Yeah, Kelby Parsons, the quarterback there, has done a great job kind of coming above the game manager type of player who's able to impact the
For
game
sure.
in a variety of ways. For Fremont Ross and Chad Long, they got done with business winning the BCSN Game of the Week last week at Springfield to set up this de facto championship game. Jaden Slater, offensive lineman up front for the Little Giants, I think it's on them. That guy and that unit offensively for Fremont Ross, they got to win the line of scrimmage because they make no bones about it at Napoleon. They're going to run the run to set up the pass. They've shown that they're capable of doing both with some wideouts. But the line of scrimmage of all games, because coaches will give you the coach speak up front, line of scrimmage, offensive and defensive lines. But I think it's of the utmost importance in this specific matchup.
Absolutely right. And the guy that makes Fremont Ross go is maybe the biggest football player in Northwest Ohio, Cole Myers.
Yeah.
6'4", 350 pounds at guard, and then plays nose tackle for them also. Offensively, he can swallow up 2-3 guys without breaking a sweat.
Yeah.
And defensively, it takes the entire interior line to hold him off.
Yeah.
And they've moved midseason from a 4-3 to a 3-4 because one of their young Noah Crawford, I believe his name is, outside linebacker, 5'9", 150 pounds, just shot out of a cannon, getting into the backfield constantly. The guy to watch also, in terms of whether he plays or he doesn't, is Talon Brown for Fremont Ross. He is their starting tailback. He's been banged up all year. He rolled an ankle in week 3, I think it was, did not play for them against Whitmer. He came off hurt late in the first half, an upper body injury of some kind. We didn't see him again. If he is able to go, then not only does he make them that much better on offense, because Ben Wagner came in, number 26, ran the ball exceptionally well against Springfield last week without Talon Brown.
Player of the Week nominee, Ben Wagner.
But also, Talon is a really productive defensive end, flanking Cole Myers, and then on the other side, Marquez Williams, who's built kind of like a mini Jadeveon Clowney and is super fast and super strong and plays with great energy. So if Talon Brown can't go, to me, that's maybe a touchdown in Napoleon's favor because he makes a difference in literally every aspect of what they do. And if Napoleon cannot solve the Cole Myers problem, good luck to him. Because a lot of teams have gone against him, and just nobody has anybody that's that big, that strong. And at his size, shockingly durable. He's not off the field all that often. So he might be the most impactful lineman anywhere around. And Napoleon's got to figure him out.
The big thing in this one, looking at defense for both of these teams, we talked about that Whitmer game. Fremont played really good defense when they lost to Whitmer. They're on a 3-game winning streak, giving up 7 points a game. Napoleon hasn't given up more than 15 points since week 1 of the season. Both of these defenses very stingy. They're going to make life hard for each other. This might be a quick one. We might see a lot of running clock and running game. We'll see how this one shakes out. See you Friday, 7 p.m. on the BCSN Plus app. See who's running for the NLL Cardinal. But now it is time for our Game of the Week, brought to you by Dunn Chevy in Oregon. Cisco, you know what to do. A game that a few weeks ago we thought might decide the NLL. Buckeye, Anthony Wayne had a rough go as of late, but still another rivalry. Two teams that want to beat each other, period, end of story, between the Generals and the Yellow Jackets.
Yeah, we've seen a lot of new rivalries in the new NLL with conferences coming together. This has been one for a very long time.
Yep.
And I think it's not being talked about enough with Perrysburg. The fact that they're now running up against a levy later this year that could be the end of athletics in that district. And nobody is going to want to talk about that. I doubt very highly Dirk Connor is using that as motivation.
Right.
But it's there, and it's kind of hanging over.
Yeah, this dark storm
I have to
cloud.
assume not just the kids in that locker room, but the whole city. Like, it's a community that's so proud of its school district and what that represents. To be in this situation,
The levels of success across all athletics.
yeah, it's a story for another day. But it also feels like a trap game for them, knowing what's coming in Week 10.
Yeah.
With Perrysburg having to go to Whitmer, who will have played all three of the traditional powers in the Buckeye at home this year through a quirk of scheduling.
Love that for them.
Anthony Wayne has to go on the road to all of them. They'll have them all at home next year. And it's just, I hate to keep beating this dead horse, but Anthony Wayne, it's youth at some positions, but injuries. I mean, they've had to shuffle the offensive
100%.
line. When you're a young quarterback, you need to be comfortable back there. And I don't know if Porter Brungard has ever truly been comfortable because it's always changing.
Yeah.
They had to bring Gunnar Hansen, hand him number 57, put his number 7 uniform to the side so he could play center because they had no one else. It's been that kind of a year for them.
Yeah.
And now Jathan Volts is having to play at running back some. He's moved from slot receiver into the backfield. He got 16 carries, I think, against Northview. They only scored 21 points against the Wildcats, too. So, and I don't know how quick Roman Morrison might be back. I think based on what they've done already this year, they're in the playoffs. You can maybe get him, depending on how bad the break to his collarbone was in Week 11. They're going to have to do it defensively, Anthony Wayne, because offensively, they're going to struggle to put up points. That's just the way it is with the way the offense is going right now. But if that defense can be as good as they were early on in the season and play like a typical Anthony Wayne defense, they'll have a shot.
Yep.
Looking forward to this one. This is Game Day Tailgates pregame show location. 5,000 plus expected in attendance. Anthony Wayne has won this game 3 out of the last 5 years. Those 5 years are the 5 years under Coach Dirk Connor at Perrysburg. Andy Brungard, this permeates with him because he's a Perrysburg alum. He's been the head coach at Anthony Wayne for 10 years now. He told me earlier this week that it's basically 25 years of his life. He has been a part of this rivalry as a player, as an assistant coach at Perrysburg, or as a head coach now at Anthony Wayne. So it's a big game for him and his family. But yeah, a third of their roster in the sense of at the beginning of the season.
Contributors,
who was going to play a majority of the minutes. And basically 11-ish players, a third of the roster in his mind has been hurt, either is out for the season or is or has been hurt. Some guys have come back, but they are likely a 6, 7, or 8 seed when you look at that Fantastic 50 website.
Number 6 projected right now.
Yeah. Porter, Brungard to Cam Miller can be lethal, but they need time to get open. They need time to throw the ball.
Yes.
So 2 defensive backs for Perrysburg, Blake Kirsten and Jaden Villarreal. Are those DBs going to come up with a pass breakup or an interception or a tackle that needs to be made, just like Jamon Holmes did at Whitmer last week? Are those types of plays going to be made on both sides of the ball? Because Perrysburg has a chance, if they run the table, win against Anthony Wayne, win against Whitmer next week, they could catapult highly into the seedings for their region, secure a first-round home game, possibly get a first-round bye. Based on the projections, as of right now, it's nip and tuck with that game next week with Whitmer and Perrysburg, which could change based on the outcome of this game against Anthony Wayne. But they're most likely a 5 seed, so they would get a home game. But 4 of the 10 opponents for Perrysburg have been tough. Olentangy, Findlay, Anthony Wayne, and Whitmer, if you looked at the beginning of the season. And a majority of that came at the beginning, and now it's coming at the end. So they're going to be tested as much as they've been tested since that Olentangy game way back when in week 2. So can Perrysburg figure things out and get punched in the mouth and be able to punch back?
All right, let us know who you think is going to take home this win. Head over to our X page. Our Game of the Week poll is pinned. It ends Thursday at noon. We'll be right back to put a bow on the show after 30 seconds for Buffalo Wild Wings. Hit it, Cisco.
I've saved so much money enjoying Buffalo Wild Wings BOGO half-off traditional wing Tuesdays. I can finally afford everything I've ever wanted in life. Wings. All I ever wanted was more wings. So yeah, buy one, get one half-off traditional wings is the perfect deal for me and my lifetime yearnings. I value it more than literally anything. Buffalo Wild Wings. Let's go sports bar.
At participating locations, not valid with other offers or discounts. See website or app for details.
Your buy one, get one on the podcast. Will you come watch the podcast? You get a games list for free presented by 𝗦𝗽liche. Game Day Nation, Justin Mensch will be out at Perrysburg for that A-Dub Perrysburg matchup. St. Francis at Central Catholic. Napoleon, Fremont, Ross, we talked about. BG Southview, another fun one in Cardinal action. Erie Mason, Ottawa Hills in Taction. And then Lakota Margaretta over on BCSN Erie, a full slate Friday night.
We're looking forward to that one. I tell you, that Erie Mason Ottawa Hills game, Ottawa Hills should get their first win. They played a heck of a game against Summerfield. The outcome not in their favor. They came up 1 point short, 2-point conversions and some mistakes a little bit along the way. They've also been dealt with the injury bug quite a bit. Have Coach Brandon Carter and the Green Bears, but it would be good to see Ottawa Hills get the job done.
And Southview and Bowling Green have really struggled this year in the Cardinal. I think we expected that from Bowling Green. We expected Southview to be fighting for a league championship at this stage of the season, and it just hasn't happened for them. And by the way, check out that Margaretta team because they are at the top, I believe, of their region currently on points. They are very, very good.
They're number 4 in the state in Division 6.
My old math teacher, Gary Quizno at Oak Harbor High, is their head coach.
Yes, he is.
All the shout-outs you could get from Mason Lowry, so I'll give mine. Follow at Justin Fellenkamp. Follow at M. Lowry BCSN. Make sure you follow at BCSN Sports and you don't miss a thing. This Friday, Game Day Nation ready for you on BCSN. Mike Rob's out. It's Godfrey this week. We'll see you next week.